Hello, and welcome to another day in paradise. So today we're going to talk about the Vaer D5 Tropic, which is here on my wrist and comes in this nice little box here. So I came across this watch on YouTube, and I was watching their advertisement and I became very intrigued with the company. So Vaer is, it was founded by two guys, Ryan Torres and Regan Cook in 2016 in Venice, California. They wanted to start a watch company because they couldn't afford the watches they liked, and they didn't like the watches they could afford. So they decided to go ahead and try to create a watch company that was supposed to be high quality, but at an affordable cost. I know you hear that all the time on all these ads, and they try to cut out the middleman or something like that. But the more I looked into this company, I felt like the more it seemed like a quality product for the price that you paid. So in 2018 is when they actually started releasing their first watches, and their watches that they released were more like field watches, and they were in the $200 or sub $200 range. In 2019, they launched a Kickstarter campaign, which they raised $222,000, which then they used that money to enter the automatic watch movement. They have several different lines of watches. I think their field watches, they come in basically 40 millimeters and 36 millimeters. The 40 millimeters are in the C5 and S5 is what the lines are called. And in the 36 millimeters, it would be the C3 and the S3. I mean, I find 36 millimeters to be the in-between, like the smallest that I would certainly wear, and probably the largest that my wife would probably wear. So when they went into the automatics, they have these, A5, A7, and then they have the A12, which is they also call the Dirty Dozen. But what we're going to talk about today is their diving watch series, which is their most recent launch of watches, and they start with D. So they have the D5 and the D7. D standing for diver watch, and the D5 means it was assembled in the U.S. And tested in the U.S. And the D7 is Swiss movement assembled in Europe. So the fact that they had a U.S. assembled watch, and it's a U.S. company, it was founded in California, that in itself intrigued me very much. So today we are going to talk about the D5 Tropic. They have other watch lines. I think they have like the Arctic and a couple of other different styles of dive watches. And those dive watches follow a more traditional watch face. I was attracted to the Tropic, which is also here in this picture here. I was attracted to this one because it was different. I really liked the cream contrast. Most dive watches, like this Omega here, most dive watches have a dark background, and then they'll have the loomed hour markers. And with this watch, the only lume that they have is the triangle at 12 o'clock in terms of hour markers. The background on the face is loomed, and the bevel is loomed. And so it takes a bit of a different approach. It has a bit of a different look. And it was something that I was attracted to, not only for the aesthetics, but the quality, and I thought it was a reasonable price point. So the assembled in America version of the watch, which are the D5s, they come with a Japanese Miyota 9015 automatic movement. And that movement has a beat rate of 28,800 beats. I don't know a lot about movements in general, but my understanding is they could have done worse. And their Swiss-made watches have a ETA movement in them. And apparently those are now actually getting harder and harder to find now that we're, entering this weird world of, I don't know, you can't find a Rolex, for example, unless you're on the gray market and you want to pay 2 to 3 times whatever the market value of the watch is. So the less expensive the watch, the more expensive it is in the gray market. The more expensive the watch, the closer you get to actually paying retail value, which is still usually above retail value. But that aside, we're here to talk about the D5 Tropic. So this watch has a case diameter of 39 millimeters, and they did the bezel size at 40 millimeters. So the bezel is slightly bigger than the case size, which I think is nice because it allows the watch to feel just a little bit smaller on the wrist, but still maintains a larger look than if it was just a typical, if it was a 40 millimeter case and 40 millimeter bezel. So I kind of like that. Now the bezel itself is black, and they did that in ceramic. And I have to say that for the price point, I don't think you find that very often. Ceramic is great for its durability, but it's also great because of it keeps its shine. I mean, it's it doesn't dull over time. And in the bezel, they also loomed the markers in the bezel as well. So the case material is 316L steel. It also comes with a sapphire crystal face, which is domed, and it's actually double domed, and that allows there to be no distortion from any angle in which you look, which is also nice. The case thickness with the domed crystal is 13.7 millimeters, which I think is quite easily fits underneath your sleeve, a sleeve jacket or anything. That is certainly thin enough for everyday wear. The lug to lug is 48 millimeters, and you can see how it fits on my wrist, which my wrist is 185 millimeters or 7¼ inches diameter, or circumference, I guess. And then you can see pictures of it on my wife's wrist, where she just has a 6-inch wrist, which would be, 15.5, approximately 15.5 centimeters. You can see that the watch doesn't overhang, and it fits nicely on both of our wrists. The case weight is 66 grams. So it's not very heavy, it's not very bulky, which is nice. And the water resistance of it is 20 atomic meters, which is the equivalent to 200 meters of depth. They warranty the watch for any kind of water activity. Most of their watches are set for 10 atomic meters and 100 meters, which they say basically fits the needs of 98% of watch users. But with their diver watches, they wanted to cover that other 2% and make it even more versatile. So the power reserve on the watch is 40 hours, and its regulated accuracy is minus to plus 15 seconds per day. The lume material that they use on it is Super Luminova X1 C1, which is supposed to be the industry standard. And for the strap size, the in-between width for the strap is 20 millimeters. So one of the things that is nice about their watches is the quick release watch straps. It's a system that was similar to Fossil, and it makes changing out the straps very easy. So you can see here they have these little tabs here that you can pull to quick release the straps, and it makes changing the straps very easy. You can also see on this Fossil watch that I have that they also deploy a very similar system for quick releasing the straps, and you can see this tab here, and it was a feature I really liked with Fossil, and and then this watch also does the same thing, and you can see that they're very easy to put on and take off here. So here you can see the difference between a traditional dive watch and this D5 Tropic. You can see that the traditional style for dive watches is having the background being dark of some sort, either black or blue, and then of course you can see that the looms are on the face, marking the hour markers, and then this watch, of course, this Omega has a ceramic bezel as well. This is certainly my go-to watch for almost every occasion, and this watch here, I'm certainly looking forward to spending a lot more time with it. But it also has single directional bezel here. But the looms on this watch are painted on the face, and it's basically all of the light material that you see. And when you see the watch in the dark, you can only see the one marker that is the indicator on the face for the 12 o'clock position, and these different markers here are also loomed. On the back you can see that they have the display sapphire case on the back, and it's a screw down front and a screw down back on this. It also has hacking, which simply means that when you're setting the time, you can stop the second hand on this. Another feature on this is the hour, I mean not the hour, the date. The date is found at the 6 o'clock position, and which I think creates a great balance to the watch in terms of symmetry on the face. Where you have here on the Omega here is and you find this on Rolexes as well, is that the date is usually found at the 3 o'clock position. And I feel like that just kind of throws the balance of the watch out. I mean, I've heard lots of discussion where it should only be at the 3 o'clock. You'll see some watches from like Grand Seiko where it's at the 4 o'clock position. You know, I don't mind those. I really don't mind it too much, especially since the Grand Seiko usually counterbalances it with a power reserve, you know, at like the 8 o'clock or something like that. But if the only complication on the watch is going to be the date, then I think it should be at the 6 o'clock position. So this watch retails for $500. When you go to their site, they offer 15% off. They do have some different watch strap selections that you can make. I also had purchased the steel band on this watch as well. I haven't actually put it on yet, but it also would then make it look more like my Omega here. And I have to say I'm pretty impressed. I think it's a nice watch for the price, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Have a great day.